Hey y'all, welcome to Scared of Beautiful. It is a beautiful Resurrection Sunday morning. I hope you all are enjoying this wonderful day with your friends, your family. And if you are a believer, I hope you have given the Lord his thanks for the ultimate sacrifice that he made. Now, I'm getting up early this morning to do this video for y'all because Love and Marriage Huntsville is back. And I am already irritated with these mamas. Y'all saw the mamas got the attention on the thumbnail. I want us to get the mamas out of the mess, please. But let's get into the episode. We're going to go through exactly why I feel like the mamas should not be in the mess. If you are new here, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit those notification bells so that you all know when I have uploaded a new video. If you are one of my loyal, my faithful beauties and bows, thank you all so much per usual for your support. Last week we made 20,000 subscribers. I will be celebrating that a little bit later in the month, but I'm so thankful to y'all for holding me down and the support over these last couple of years, even when I have been absent, right? So let's get into this episode, y'all. Love and Marriage Huntsville is back. It doesn't feel like it's been gone that long. Sometimes I feel like, girl, we need to miss y'all for a minute, but they're back with a bang. We have some of the newer cast members showing us more of themselves. We'll get into whether we think that's a good thing or a bad thing or not. But as the episode starts out, they are showing us how Huntsville, Alabama is in a real estate boom. They are being hailed all over the country as one of the best places to live. Their growth is skyrocketing. I might think this has a little bit to do with the show. Maybe not. Martell is in therapy. Let's give a round of applause to Martell. Never thought I would see the day. Kimmy is almost done with chemotherapy. We are thankful for her healing. And she's still having a little bit of issues with Kyle when it comes to the disciplining of Monster. Martell and Tisha have this house guest that we'll soon hear about. And Mel is educating the community on property preservation. Look, I am a real estate girl. I am a property girl. That is one of the things that I love. And so I am always going to be for people educating, particularly the Black community, about the importance of real estate, managing our property, preserving our property, having the proper documents, i.e. wills, trusts, insurance, all of those wonderful things to be able to pass this property down to our children. Property is one of the cornerstones of how you create generational wealth. So I really wish this show would focus more on that. You know, that's what I thought we were coming on this show to do, and a little bit less on the mess, but I'm grateful for that little glimpse, and hopefully they'll expand it more. One thing I have to say, y'all, these editors, producers have been spending way too much time over on Canva. If you are a content creator or you do anything digitally at this point in life regarding marketing and things like that, we all know what Canva is. And it is very easy to spot a Canva theme, a Canva transition. I want them to get some graphic designers who have some originality about themselves. The transitions were all over the place for me, similar to Latasha Scott in her runs. You know, when somebody's just doing too much, it was too much transition. You don't have to put every element into the phase for us to see that y'all are trying to step your game up. That's just my opinion. If you like it, great. Now, before we get into the meat of this review, y'all, I'm gonna let you know now. I am always open for comments. I want to hear your opinions, but we keep it respectful over here. All right. I am the type of person that's gonna call it like I see it, whether it's your fave, my fave, or not. I believe very much so in right is right and wrong is wrong. And when I see some of these characters or these people that we've all come to know, love, and sometimes hate, not like so much, I'm going to call it how I see it. So feel free to disagree if you do, but always be respectful. If not, you will be deleted and blocked. That's how we do it over here on Scared of Beautiful. We do adult discourse. Um, no calling out of names and, why you think this, oh, but you ignored it. I don't ignore anything. I'm calling it how I see it. All right. All right. Let's get into it. First, we have Melody. She's talking about her friendship with Kimmy, how she values Kimmy. Kimmy has been one of the ones in the group who has respected her boundaries over these last couple of years. Mel has had a recent 37th birthday. Kimmy's like, oh, how did that go? How was your party? How was Vegas? Mel's like, not too much on my business. Not going to share too much of my personal business, but it was a fun time. Maurice wants Kimmy to slow down. He feels like she's doing way too much with her current condition. And Kimmy says she's all about having a positive mindset. She is still positive that everything is going to be okay at the end of the day for her and her health. Kimmy wants to have a party after she finishes her chemotherapy. But Maurice thinks it's just too soon. She still has surgery to go through and radiation. Kim wants to find a balance that will work between what she wants, what Maurice wants, and what is the best for her health. Mel volunteers to plan the party for her, and Kimmy says that Mel has been a really great friend throughout her hardship and her illness, and that they have gotten closer over this time. And I'm glad to hear that at least one of the ladies, and I'm sure more of the ladies, have stepped up to support Kim throughout this journey with her breast cancer. Kimmy is concerned, though, with Mel planning the party because she wants to invite all of the ladies, everyone in their group of friends, and she doesn't know if that will be problematic for Mel or not. Mel says that that won't be a problem for her because the event is all about Kimmy. It is to celebrate Kimmy. She's an adult. She can look past her personal issues with others and celebrate Kimmy in this moment. Everyone will be on their best behavior, and she says no shade will be allowed. I don't know how you're going to control that with this group, girl, but go for it. Kimmy and Mel then practice how Mel is going to call the ladies with their invites. Kimmy role plays giving Mel some pushback and having a stank attitude. Mel is really good, in my opinion. She does a really good job of handling the shade, handling the awkward silences. Until she inserted a little bit of shade in that last bit when she was like, wish you well on your journey. What journeys are these ladies on, girl? No, that part won't be needed, but good thing it was a role play, so it didn't go left. Next we see Martell. Again, y'all, this was one of the points where I felt like the transitions were the pits, that transition, bringing in Mel, introducing him into his scene. It was just a lot. But we see that Martell is keeping his beauty regimen going. Martell is always going to try to be the prettiest in any relationship that he is in. And he's keeping that going. He's meeting with an esthetician to get a facial because he has noticed some bags under his eyes. So he wants to address those. Real talk, I'm all for a man keeping himself up, wanting to age well. A lot of times I see people in my age group, the women are looking great. But some of the guys, I'm like, I think it's the smoking or the drinking or, not going to the doctor as much, but their skin, So I'm here for Martell keeping himself up. He tells us how much he loves to be touched and to have a woman touch his body. So facials, hand massages, all massages of any kind, they just really get him going. We didn't really need to hear that, Martell. We know your history. We know everything that you've done, and honestly, it's just not the best look. It didn't put me in the best mindset, because if I were a woman in your realm of romantic relationships, I would wonder what all goes on in those touching scenarios, or what you try to induce or flirt or any of these things. It just was, ugh, we didn't need it. The esthetician gives him this LED mask, and all of a sudden you hear Mama Holt running in, baby, all loud and country. What's wrong with my baby? What you doing to my baby? Sis, this is the first mama that I would like to keep out of the mess. Mama Holt, although she seems to be a very nice lady, almost might be the picture of women who have boys and don't know how to successfully detach from their sons, and that their sons are their sons and not their baby man. Martell is fully grown, at this point divorced. He has 5 children at least. And it's just a lot, y'all. It gives me very much this. And it's cringe. No one wants to see a mother that hovers and coddles over a grown man. It gets worse when we get into this conversation, right? So while they're sitting there talking, Sheree just happens to call. Just so happened to have Sheree on the line. And she's in Portugal on a ROA girls trip to Portugal. Sanya jumps in the screen and wants to know why Martell's chest is all out. Well, good thing his mommy is there to confirm that he is on his best behavior. He's getting a facial. Sheree wants to know when she is going to come to Huntsville. And Martell asked Sheree when she's gonna come to Huntsville, and she's like, "Whenever you want me there, whenever if I can get flued out again." Y'all, I am so over this manufactured relationship that Carlos King them put together, in my opinion, to create more manufactured drama in Love and Marriage Huntsville, and to get himself another foot over there at Real Housewives of Atlanta. At this point, it's very see-through, and it's also insulting. Like, I'm surprised. I know Sheree wants to stay on that show so bad, but I'm really surprised at this point, with her being an OG housewife, that she's up with these shenanigans and BS with Martell. Anybody can see that that is just some type of some type of business arrangement and deal that they have going on. And it's hilarious to me. I'm not going to get into ROA situations, but it's hilarious to me now. All of these ladies are willing to do this stuff. And they claimed early on that Kenya was the one paying people and creating these things to have a man on a show with her because they were so desperate. Sheree seems that she's fine with doing that type of stuff as well. Martell goes on to tell us that he and Sheree talk every day, but that they're just good friends. They can talk to each other because they've had similar experiences, but that they're taking it very slow and just really getting to know each other.
Right.
No one believes you, sir. You would need 50 more people. I would need to see a tape of Sheree hanging from the chandelier or the shower pole. before I would believe that anything between you all is remotely genuine, like at all. Mama Holt then goes on to ask Martell how things are going with Mel since Florida. He says everything has been up and down. He feels like he's in a constant battle with someone who was his family, like his family. She wasn't like your family, she was your family. They show this flashback to Carlos King inserting himself into the drama at the reunion, telling Martell that he misses his family. He needs to stop all of the bravado and really be honest with himself. Martell admits that he does miss his family, and he says that he and Mel went to their kids' Christmas program, and that Mel said she would pray on them becoming more cordial and having more communication for the kids. Martell tells his mama that he's just going to keep working on himself and going to therapy to work on being a better person. Mama Holt says, "Better person? How? You're good, ma'am." No, he's not. And it's really sad that Martell himself is actually showing signs of growth, trying to do the work, at the very least, taking baby steps and getting into therapy. And his mother is questioning why he wants to better himself. Because he needs to better himself, ma'am. Because he has some faults, as we all do. You should probably go as well. You would likely benefit from it. He has recognized, thankfully, after what, 2 years, 3 years, that everything that transpired in his marriage was not the fault of someone else. There were things, lots of things that he did, and honestly, that he continues to do sometimes, that was completely problematic for his marriage. But not only that, is now hindering him having a successful co-parenting relationship with his ex-wife. If he wants to create the family and still be involved with his children and have Mel there present as well to not disrupt the children's lives as best as possible, therapy is absolutely needed. And in earlier seasons, we saw them do some parenting classes, things to help them work together. But group therapy really only works after you've done individual work. That's just the way it is, right? You can't really talk to your parents, your wife, your ex-wife, your husband, your friends, your siblings if you haven't done your own fundamental work to, one, be able to hear others and not necessarily hear offense all of the time, like actually ingest what they're saying, not how what they're saying makes you feel. Those are two different things, right? Sometimes we need to be able to hear criticism without hearing an attack. And a lot of times I feel like in the past, that's what Martell does. He can't take the valid criticism of what all he did that led to his divorce and the aftermath of the divorce, because all he hears is a constant attack and affront on his person. So therapy really helps you get to the root of that. Figure out why certain things trigger you and how you cannot be triggered or be less triggered in the moment when you're having these conversations with others. And more importantly, how to react to your triggers in a healthy way, because we all have triggers. Everybody, me included. So, Martell says it might be deeper than what he thinks it is. You know, he can keep saying that he's a good father, he's a gentleman to women. That's all questionable. But he wants to get deeper and he wants to seek counsel on how to be a better person. One thing that really bothers me about this good father narrative is that, especially I find in the Black community, people want applause and kudos for doing the bare minimum. You're supposed to be a present father, you're supposed to be an active father. And one thing that happens in our community, and what is clearly, in my opinion, at work here with Mama Holt, is that what's the saddest part is in our community because so many people grow up with absent fathers who do nothing, that when a man comes and does the bare minimum, it's like, oh my God, he's so great. We should just, bow at his feet, when no, you're doing the basics. You're doing the bare minimum. You're doing what you should do. You're doing what I would hope any man who lays down and creates seeds outside of him would want to do, right? And unfortunately, we know that that's not true, but I also don't think that then gives reason for us to be overly indulgent, or in the how Mama Holt is dismissive of anything not good that Martell does. Just because he shows up for the children, he has them on the weekends when he's supposed to have them, he's active in their extracurricular activities, she expects Melody to ignore everything else. That's a horrible mindset. And more importantly, it's a dangerous mindset to pass down to both our young ladies and our young men. You don't get participation trophies for doing the bare minimum. And we really need to stop that. Let's start with Mama Hope. Mama says, well, that's life. You live and you learn. Everyone makes mistakes. And again, she's very dismissive. Not that you should beat someone up with their faults or the things that they've done wrong, but he's sitting here saying, I'm going to therapy because I want to be a better person. And she's dismissing this as if you don't need that. You are already a good person. He can be better. That's what he said. He wants to be better. Martell says he was initially against counseling, but he has been enjoying it and learning how to be a better communicator. Yes, I love it. Martell says the kids have been going to counseling too, and Mama Holt says, well, they might need it, but your son doesn't. So your grandchildren, you recognize that they may need therapy because, look, they've gone through a traumatic situation. Divorce is a traumatic situation for almost everyone involved, right? Definitely the children. So Mama Hope can recognize that her grandchildren need counseling, but Martell doesn't. Make that, 2 plus 2. How is this adding up? He is the fully grown adult, right? And he's telling you he is enjoying therapy. I'm learning to be a better person. I just really do not understand this mindset. Mama Holt says, well, people have to get it right. She doesn't say Mel's name, but we know who she's referring to. Get that bitterness out of you and quit talking to the kids about their daddy like he's this monster. Look, I don't get into the social media circus, y'all. This is another disclaimer. You will find out I'm a purist when it comes to these shows. I watch the show. If I see something going on, if I see a headline on social media, it makes it to the Shade Room or the Jasmine brand, and I'm interested, I might go down that little rabbit hole. But for the most part, I watch what comes on Saturday nights between 7 to 8. I don't like the social media circus. I actually wish these networks would put more gag orders on the cast because, in my opinion, it makes the show almost unwatchable. I don't like all the rah, but also a lot of times they expose most of the storyline before the show comes on, which makes me less inclined to watch because if I know everything that already happened, why do I need to watch your spin and how you roll it out? I don't. Now, for some shows, I still watch because I like watching Black people on television and I want to support Black people on television. But I don't get into all the different angles and what has happened on social media. So sometimes when you all hear me give a review, again, I'm literally giving a review on what we saw. If you would like to drop all the backstory and these side alleys in my comments, great. But don't expect me to, oh, well, you missed, well, because such and such said this and her mama said this and this one went live and said that. I don't care. I'm not that interested, just to be frank and honest with y'all. Like, it doesn't give that much for me to where I want to chase it like that. I don't care. However, with that being said, I have seen videos in I know recent years where Martell talks horribly about Melody to those children as well. So again, it is not just Melody allegedly talking negatively about their father to the children. Martell does it as well. And Mama Holt has been on this for the longest. He is not a monster. He has done wrong things, bad things that have negatively affected their mother. When you treat the mother of your children a certain way, that will unfortunately have a trickle down effect on your children. So, yes, Melody needs to watch how she talks about Martell in front of the children. It's also why, I'm a fan of old school parenting. Children should not be in the room when adults are talking. That means included talking on the telephone. But Martell needs to watch those actions as well. It's a two-way street. And Mama Holt, unfortunately, only seems to find fault in Melody. She always minimizes what Martell has done. And it just, for me, goes back to this horrible culture trend that I feel like I see, where a lot of people in our community, we raise our daughters and we coddle our sons, right? The girl is expected to go out and be this achiever, be this leader, whereas, and it starts literally in elementary school. You can look at academia. Girls are pushed and prodded to be straight A students, to be this, to, perfect attendance. Oh, you got to look gorgeous and pretty every day. Whereas the boys just aren't held to that same standard. And unfortunately, I think it plays out in what we see now in the dating world, in the adult world. You see women who are out here hustling, getting the bag, making the deals. You see it in Melody and Martell. Whereas the man isn't as ambitious and then ultimately ends up resenting the woman that he chose because she wants to actually push the family, the legacy. Again, before anyone starts, I'm not saying all. I'm not saying all women have all the ambition and men have no ambition. That's not what I said at all. So let's put on our listening ears, not our feeling ears, to get what I'm really saying, right? So I want them to, I just want the mamas out of the mess, y'all. Next, we see Stormy and Courtney. Stormy is talking about how the business Canvas Beauty has taken over their family life. They want to just get back to focusing on a bit of their family life. Courtney says that now that their son is eating table food, Stormy should stop breastfeeding. She says, I might want to keep breastfeeding until he's 3. Courtney's like, hell no. He eats steaks. So therefore, he doesn't need to be breastfed anymore. Courtney, Stormy says she wants to nurse all of their kids. Courtney says, what kids? I don't want any more kids. And he reveals that Stormy had a very hard delivery. She lost a lot of blood and almost died. Stormy suggested they get a surrogate, and Courtney says he doesn't want anyone else having his child. Stormy says, well, it shouldn't matter how we get the end result. I don't agree there. I mean, you all are married, so the end result, or how you get to the end result, does matter, because surrogates aren't cheap, not counting y'all's pockets. But I'm just saying, it's a lot that goes into alternative family planning. Cost is definitely one of the considerations, but you can't just dismiss Courtney's feelings if he says he doesn't want another person having his child. Although I do think a lot of his feelings all wrapped up in some old school patriarchy and misogyny, but we'll get there. Courtney says he isn't talking about it. Stormy says, well, we need to talk about it. And Courtney then says he doesn't want their son to have a sister or brother to compete with. That's weird. And Stormy laughs at him moving the goalpost. He again tells her he doesn't want to talk about it and she should check on her pork chops. Stormy says, well, this isn't the first time in her confessional. This isn't the first time that Courtney has shut down when talking. He usually does this when he doesn't want to go deeper about a conversation. Stormy then asks why he doesn't want to talk about it, and he says he's not going to talk about it. That's it, and he doesn't have to give her a reason. What I got from this scene is that you have to be very, very careful when you say you want to be seen more on reality television and you want people to see more of your story, to know more of you. I don't know if Stormy and Courtney really know what they signed up for in this reality TV world. Like, it's all fun and games where you're going to brunch and dinner and you're promoting your business. Last year, people thought that Courtney was the bee's knees. He's the best husband ever. He lets Stormy flourish, and he is just back there being Mr. Canvas Beauty and really helping her get her business off of the ground and supporting her hustle. This one conversation may have changed that. He was very rigid, very, not gonna say he was demeaning, but his attitude was definitely, in my opinion, demeaning. He showed no compassion for his wife in even attempting to have the conversation. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? You can say, baby, I just really don't want to talk about this right now. We'll discuss it at a different time. I want to spend our time with you. I want to, focus on this good dinner that you're cooking. But to completely shut someone down from a conversation on camera, it's like, okay, how does he talk to her behind closed doors, right? Nothing that she wants in terms of family planning is being honored. If you truly don't want more children, at least let her finish breastfeeding her son to the way that she sees fit. Your son as well. It's both of you all's child. But being that it's two of you all, then there has to be some type of compromise there. There has to be some type of pull, push, give, take. And it just seems like Courtney is not one of those guys. And I think for me, being from the Deep South, I know lots of Courtneys. I know lots of Maurices. I know lots of Martells. I know lots of Marceaus. And it's hard, right? And I don't wish that battle on anyone, right? I just want them to get out of this old school mentality that has them in bondage and really learn how to be good partners for their wives. That's it. If you choose to be married, I want to see women in healthy relationships, in healthy partnerships with men who honor their voice. And in that moment, I did not feel like he was honoring her at all in his tone, in his demeanor, in his body language. It was just very dismissive and kind of callous to me. That's just how I felt. And when you ask for, more spotlight, more camera time, the cracks in the foundation start to show. So we'll see how they bounce back and we move forward now that clearly they'll be getting more camera time. But It was a very interesting conversation, to say the least. Next, we see Mel making hot chocolate and pretzels with her kids. They tell her that they want cell phones for Christmas. Little boss baby, that third one, says she wants an iPhone 14. She's already talked to Santa about it. Mel starts making these calls for Kimmy's party. She's not looking forward to calling Tisha or Martell, but she reveals that she has a trap phone or a burner phone that she will be using, not her real number. Now, I'm fine with her using a trap phone for Tisha, but I mean, I'm unsure. They didn't clear it up. Does this mean Martell doesn't have her real number either? And if that's the case, y'all, I'm sorry. That's not cool. That's problematic. You and this man have 4 children together. You can put him on ignore. You can put him on do not disturb. But there could be an emergency with your children while he has them. He needs your number to get in contact with you, your real number. And if he doesn't have it, I'm sorry. In my opinion, that is problematic. And honestly, that's another actual valid reason for the children to have their own cell phone. If they need to contact you while they're in his care, or if they want to reach out to their dad on their own, especially the oldest two, they're old enough to have that responsibility. Now, little boss baby, no, she doesn't need a cell phone yet. But the oldest two, absolutely. And that can be a way where you don't have to talk to and engage with Martell. So first she calls Tiffany. Tiffany's fine with it. Next, she calls Letitia. There's this flashback to the dark soul comment that Tisha made at the reunion. Tisha says she loves Kimmy, but she was not expecting this call from Mel, and it was unpleasant for her. Stormy acts like she doesn't understand Mel 3 different times. She's like, "Who? Who is this?" Mel. And she asks Mel if this is her new number. Mel says, "No, this is temporary." Stormy says that she hasn't heard from Mel in months. She barely talked to her at the reunion, and she's not fond of this call out of the blue, but she makes it clear that she will be at the party in support of Kimmy. Martell gasps when he hears Mel on the phone. Mel says that she doesn't talk to him on the phone, so that's why he was shocked to hear her voice. Mel invites him to Kimmy's party, and Martell says, "Okay, I'll be there," but then asks Mel if she's going to tell him about last night. And I'm sure everybody was like, "Last night? What? Why would she be telling you about last night? You too much in her business, sir. Too much in her business." Well, Mel goes on to let us know that Martell wants to discuss a prayer that he wanted her to pray last night. Now, earlier in the episode, when he said he wanted her to pray for them to have a better co-parenting relationship, I could not have fathomed that he literally gave a directive of, we are both going to pray together at a certain date and time. Sir, no. Boy, bye. You don't get that type of say in her life anymore. He knew that was Mel was calling him about. Mel says that he wanted her to pray. But Mel claims that he wanted her to pray about giving him another chance. So we have 2 different stories going on here. She says that she already prayed about that and God been told her to go. So Martell still is insisting that you're not going to tell me about your prayer last night. Mel says, I got several other calls to make. Goodbye. Martell has to be really desperate at this point. He has pulled out religion now. Oh, we need to pray together. I bet you he said the family that prays together stays together. Every time I think Martell is doing well, he just takes 2 steps back. I don't, the manipulation is very high with that one. Nothing else has worked. So now he's brought the good Lord into his foolishness. Next, we see Stormy meeting with her mother, Miss Betty. Her mama has agreed to move into her guest house to help with her grandbaby while Stormy looks for a nanny. She asks about the grandmother. The grandmother is still watching her soaps over there with Young and the Restless, because I don't think that any much left. Young and the Restless, Bold and the Beautiful. Is anything else left, y'all? I don't know. I saw somebody the other day posting a happy birthday post to Victor Newman. That man doesn't age. You want the fountain of youth. Victor definitely has it. Stormy then tells her mother about the conversation with Courtney, and her mom says, well, your prior birth may have been very traumatic for him, and he may not know how to talk about it. That is a very good and salient point. Um, Men don't like showing emotion, and Stormy pushes back and says, well, he should talk to me about it and not just hurt her feelings. And so the mother says again, men don't like to talk about their emotions. Stormy admits that she was at first apprehensive about having another child, but now she does want to have more children. Her mom says that they will have to compromise. Stormy says he wasn't even open to talking about a surrogate. And Mama says, well, he's going to have to come up off of that, and we will threaten him with no more pound cake if he doesn't get it together. I will actually agree with Stormy's mother on this particular situation. Men have a very hard time talking about their feelings, their trauma. And I can see Courtney being very scared when those post-birth, or actually, I guess maybe during post-birth, we don't know exactly when it happened, but when she had a prior birth experience that was traumatic for him. Having a baby is a very hard thing. It's when women are our most vulnerable. Bringing life into this world is a beautiful thing, but it's also very hard. And as a person who has suffered from, infant loss, it's hard. It's something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. And I will say, when I went through my situation, my child's father had a reaction that I did not forgive him for. And looking back on that, it probably was some trauma of him not knowing how to deal with it. But I still think it's a very hard thing, because as the woman, you're the one who's actually in the bed going through all of this stuff. And for a man to not be supportive or emotionally available or even physically available, right? To you know, it's just I know for me, it goes against everything that we're taught about men, right? Men are supposed to protect and provide. And for me, part of that protection means comfort. If you can't do anything else, stand there in the gap while everything is happening. But Courtney and Stormy are married. So this is something that they definitely need to go to counseling for. They need to talk about. He can't just stonewall her, right? Because stonewalling her will set up a recipe for resentment. Just saying, no, that's my final. She's not a child. It will help her understand more. Okay, I understand why he doesn't want more children. Now, you would still need to investigate the surrogacy aspect and why he's so averse to that. But I can see him being afraid to lose his wife and not have the mother of his existing child there. I also think he needs to unpack why he thinks another child would compete with their current son. To me, that seems to speak to some trauma on his part, maybe in his own life, of having siblings and having sibling rivalry, be a really hard thing. So unfortunately, in successful relationships, you have to have the hard conversations. So I hope that they really get to a point where they're really to do that. Stormy says, well, mom, she made her look at it differently, but what about the surrogacy thing? And her mom was like, well, it's okay, but everyone doesn't have to like what you do and understand what you do. And so Storm's like, well, I just think people need to mind their own business. And her mother rightfully reminds her, well, you just bought your business to me. Storm's like, you're right, I won't do that again. But I didn't bring you to my business with all of this stuff that's going on with you online. And apparently, my business is always going to be your business because you can't stay off of social media. Now, y'all, again, because I don't be in the mess on social media, I did not know that Stormy's mama was over there allegedly cutting the fool on social media. I thought we got rid of that. The whole thing with Miss Wanda, I thought when we, pushed back on Miss Wanda, we didn't ask for another messy mama to be put in her place. And this is the issue, y'all. When the mamas get involved, everyone then uses that as an excuse and a reason to, oh, well, you got to respect my mama. Your mama shouldn't have stepped in it. Mamas, stay over there. These are all women, men in their late 30s, 40s, 50s. Why are the mothers in it? I would be so embarrassed if my mama was out here windmilling on the internet. In defense of me or not, I am a grown woman who can fight my own battles. Because yes, the minute you disrespect my mama, it sounds like Donkey Kong. So to stop that, keep your mama out of it. Mamas, stay out of it. Stay in your corner. Be classy. Be respectful. You didn't raise a child that can fight her own battles? Because real talk, at the end of the day, one day you won't be here. So I would hope that you're raising a child who knows how to handle herself if and when you're gone. I'm just not looking forward to it. This already for me is leaving a bad taste in my mouth for the rest of the season. Mama says if she stepped on someone's toes or offended someone, then so be it. Stormy lets her know. Stormy lets us know that her mother is always involved where her friends are concerned. Growing up, her mother has never liked any of her friends. That's a red flag. That is a red flag. When your mother has never liked any of your friends, now my mom ain't never liked none of the people I've dated. That's probably with good reason. But when your mother doesn't even like your friends, either you truly are picking horrible friends, which if you're doing that as a teenager, I'm sorry, mama. How did she get to pick all of these bad friends? What are you teaching or not teaching her? But two, later on, Stormy tells us that she's an only child. And I personally feel like this is a symptom of really dysfunctional codependent relationships that some mothers have, particularly single mothers, where you want to isolate your child from the outside world. I know, y'all know. We all have them. We know them. We have heard mothers that are, oh, I want to be my child's only influence. It doesn't happen. That's not real life. We live in a social world. You will never be your child's only influence. And just like Miss Wanda, when you impress upon your child, I'm the only one who loves you. I'm the only one who makes sure you're good. I'm the only one. That is manipulation 101. There are other people that mean well. Now, is the world a hard place? Absolutely. Are there trash people? Yes. Teach your child how to look out for those people, to watch out for the snakes. Every person is not a snake. Quit passing on these toxic mindsets. That's why so many women struggle with having female relationships. Girl, gotta watch them around your man. Girl, you know they jealous of you, really. Girl, you know they just want your hair. Girl, there's nothing more I despise than an old messy old woman. And I'm not saying Mama Betty is a messy old woman. I'm saying anybody who has never liked any of their children's friends, they just might be the problem. Now, she lets us know that this situation is no different. Her mama now has access to the internet, whereas her mama used to read all the time. Now she's over there scrolling on the internet. So production shows us these social media posts where Mama Betty is asking if anyone thinks Mel likes Stormy for real. They then show a tweet from Melody where Melody is talking about some kind of recorded conversation. She hashtags screen secret recordings. I already knew this though. Why I say to myself, don't trust people. Mama Betty replied to Mel's tweet saying, "You are using the same little tactics you use against Destiny, distorting the truth to have an issue with someone." What Destiny got to do with it? That's what y'all like to do. Y'all like to piggyback off of other people. Stand on what you feel Mel has done to Stormy or how she has treated Stormy. Destiny doesn't have anything to do with this because that was its own relationship. Destiny and Melody did not have the same relationship that Stormy and Melody had. So that's what I mean. Like, they like to gang up on people, and I don't like that. And that's not to say that Mel is always right, because I'm gonna get to that in a minute. Stormy says she thinks her mom tries to protect her because she's an only child, but in situations like this, she ends up making it worse. She says before the internet, mama used to be reading, now she's over there scrolling, and she wants her mama to go back to reading. Stormy tells her mother that by going on the internet, she has created beef where there was none. Her mama says that there shouldn't be any beef, but she's going to defend her child by any means necessary, even when Stormy doesn't defend herself. Mama Betty also says she's not going to apologize because that's just something she don't do. Again, another huge red flag. The nerve to be biggity, uppity, and wrong. These people that stand on their crap when they are absolutely wrong, please stay away from them. No one is above apologizing. No one is above saying, "Hey, I really shouldn't have stepped into that," or "Hey, I misinterpreted that." When you meet somebody that's like, "Oh, I did just who I am, I'm gonna do what I want to do," run, or be prepared to deal with a lifetime of misery, because that's what that is. We all get to a point where we're wrong and we have to apologize. For her to belligerently say, "I just, I hope you don't think I'm finna apologize because that's just something I don't do." I want us to rid ourselves of these dysfunctional relationships. And that's Stormy's mama. So she, you know, that's her mama, right? We gonna respect that. But everybody else, we don't have to deal with your mama. We don't have to, respect your mama. I'm gonna respect her as an elder, but I believe in calling people right, wrong, and different, even the elders, because they're wrong. And in this situation, if she has a situation where she is wrong and should apologize, she should absolutely apologize. And she just needs to get out of the mess. Stormy says her mom doing this stuff makes it seem like she is her mother, meaning that they are both in agreement. And her mama says, "No, you're not me. I did what I wanted to do. Whatever Betty wants to do, she gonna do it. Stormy says, but I get the brunt of it, and she does, which is why her mama needs to, hold back some. Her mom asked, well, how do you feel about it? Are you and Mel friends? Well, Stormy laughs it off initially and asks why her mom asked that. And Mama Betty says, well, I never liked Mel. When I first met her at your house, I never liked her energy. And her mom has been feeding off of that energy since day one. Stormy says, well, I thought me and Mel were building a friendship, but for me, friendship is consistency. Time shows you who's real, what's real, or not. And then she talks about not talking to Mel in months, even before her mom said what she said on social media. They barely talked at the reunion, and that she then did not hear from Melody until months later. Her mom said, oh, so she tuned you out like everyone else. Keep comparing to everybody else. Stormy stopped her and said, well, you feel like that. I don't. I notice the energy and I respond accordingly. She doesn't care, but now she has to deal with the mess that her mom made. Mama says, no, you don't. If they don't add value to their life, what good are they to you anyway? Look, I've said everything that I feel I need to say on that. I want mama out of the mess. It's not a good look. It complicates the issues between the actual cast members, and it's unnecessary. But more importantly, when it comes to actual Stormy and Melody, it definitely shows you the problem between these manufactured friendships and associates on this show. Friends, how many of us have them? For me, Stormy is giving me very much Candace Dillard Bassett in the sense that she's not knowing the difference between friends and coworkers. Mel also plays a part in this, though, because as an executive producer, she knows what she's doing. It's one of the big reasons why I'm not a fan of these reality shows substituting in new people however long, because if they weren't genuine friends to begin with, it's hard to build the friendship. They always sell us on, I'm introducing this person to the show, and literally it's usually just that superficial. They don't have a long-term friendship where they have a storied past and they've been through the fire together. They're surface friends. Barely. They're associates. They're co-workers. And I think for this show and for almost every show that we watch, the people that have been on there the longest get sort of this like big sister role. Then the new ladies come on as the little sister. So you're already creating this kind of like deferential gap that honestly, in my opinion, grown women shouldn't have. I am who I am. I stand on what I am and what I bring to the table. I'm not showing deference to anyone, honey. My credentials got me here. My business got me here. So there should be no kowtowing, no boot kissing, licking, none of that. These are all grown women. Quit looking to Melody for approval or acceptance. But it's hard because Melody brought her into the show. And it's the dynamic that these shows create, right? Also, Melody gets into her executive producer bag, in my opinion, and she always puts too much dip on her chip, when she's dealing with these ladies. Using Stormy's house for this video shoot, again, was that a business arrangement? Did your production company just say, oh, this is a beautiful house, this will be a great location? Or were you all actual friends and you asked her to use your house? At this point, it's giving very much it was a business arrangement. And then you were like, oh, oh, you should come be on my show. It's not a genuine friendship, right? The last scene, we go to the actual party for Kimmy. Kimmy and Maurice show up to the party. Y'all, Maurice is giving his best ladies love cool Maurice. He is in full LL Cool J mode. And it was hilarious to me. I'm like, look at Maurice with his little Kango on and Nira aviator shades. Um, Maurice got on board with the party after Mel took over planning, and there would be no stress on Kimmy. The guests arrive, and most of the people have on pink as requested. Martell brings flowers and is still over here asking Melody about this prayer. Stormy does not like how the ladies are all talking to each other and greeting each other. She says she hasn't talked to anyone since the reunion, and she doesn't understand why they are acting like they talk regularly and that they hang out. She doesn't do the fake ish. Now, ma'am, again, this is about maturity and growing up. All of that, I keeps it real personality does not work in this type of situation. Again, you may not be fit for reality television. It's not about being fake in that moment. They're being cordial, right? Sometimes people can give you a fake personality. Now, if they were up there saying, girl, let's get together, like that's fake. But somebody just saying, hey, how have you been? What's going on? That's general conversation. As you said, you haven't talked to anyone since filming. Does that make you fake too? Did you reach out to them? Friendships aren't a one-way street. We got to get that. We got to get better about that. You can't say, well, you never reached out to me. Have you reached out? We'll get to her and Melody in a minute. But the other ladies, is everybody being fake? You're the only real one? Come on. That's not a mature mindset to have in this situation. Martell then starts to talk to Melody, asks how the kids are doing, what they've been up to. He tries to make his small talk. Then he gets into the prayer. Mel says, well, this is typical Martell. I'm trying to big up Kimmy, be positive, be here to cheer on and support Kimmy in what she has going on. And Martell is there to interrogate her. She does not want to talk about her and Martell. And she admits that she told Martell that she would pray, but that was only to appease him. She was not going to waste the good Lord's time on a prayer for him, and that she has been delivered from that lion's den. I'm sorry. For this, I have to say Mel is in the wrong. It's counterintuitive at the very least. Every time you try to appease him, you give him hope. Tell that man, no, Mel, I want you to pray that you tell him, no.
I am delivered.
No. I'm delivered. The Lord got me up out that lion's den. I'm not wasting his good time praying for any of that. We will work on us being consistent because we can control being good co-parents. If that's what he wanted her to pray for. Now, if he wanted her to pray for them to get back together, again, the answer is no. Quit trying to appease him because this is what happens. Men like that, you have to hurt their feelings from time to time. I'm sorry, my opinion. Or go get a restraining order if he's being that persistent and evasive and not respecting your boundaries. But tell that man no, put him in his place and keep it moving. We wouldn't even be having this conversation if you didn't try to appease him, if you shut him down at the Christmas program. Martell, I see what you're trying to do. I won't be praying for that. We have free will. We can work on our relationship for our children. That's it. That's nothing to go pray about. If it's about us getting back together, the door is closed. That won't be happening either. That's it. Move on. Mel then tells Martell she forgot about the prayer. Again, why are you doing that? You didn't forget, you wasn't gonna do it. Tell him that. He wanted them to pray at the same time, at the same night. Um, and I already talked about how the difference was her saying it was them getting back together. He's saying it was about co-parenting purposes. And he says that they should be in good space. If he's not being negative, spiteful, or hurtful, he's not doing anything wrong. Well, if you're just being irritating and she is already told you she doesn't want to engage with you on that level, leave it to co-parenting and that's it. Kimmy announces that she is done with chemo. Yay! Her most recent PET scan shows that she doesn't have any signs of cancer. The radiologist thought she had in fact already done surgery, but she still has to have surgery so that they can remove the affected area. This is good news. And she really needed this party to feel the love and support from everyone in the room. Maurice finally agrees that the party was a good idea. Mel then tries to encourage Tiffany and Stormy to go eat. Stormy wants to talk to Mel first and pulls her off to the side to ask what is going on with them. Mel says, "Nothing. I have no issues with you." Stormy says, "Well, when was the last time we talked?" Mel says, "Well, I haven't really talked to anyone." Stormy says, "I knew that." Mel says, "Well, you didn't think something was up when I changed my number." And Stormy says, "Well, I didn't know you changed your number because I just texted you and didn't get a reply, so I didn't think anything of it because I didn't get a reply from the message." Mel then says, "So you didn't try to call or text me after that initial text?" And Stormy says, "Yes, I did." And so Mel says, "Well, you didn't get the dun dun dun. This this phone number has been disconnected." Um, and I don't know if cell phones say that actually. I thought they said the number you are trying to call is not accepting phone calls right now, or something like that. But whatever. She asks her, did she not get the disconnection message? Stormy says, "Well, I've only texted you. We're all big on texting." And Mel says, "That's what I'm saying." Now, I have to say, if you're a friend and you only text, y'all might not be as good friends as you think you are. That's just me. Stormy says she texted her several times and never got a reply. Mel says, "Well, Stormy, you could have always sent me a DM." And Stormy's like, no. No, ma'am. I don't move like that. That's weird. I will not be DMing you." And Stormy then says, at that moment, it hit her. No real friend of hers is going to tell her to DM them when she is the one who changed her number. Again, y'all, some of the mellometers or whatever y'all call yourselves, Team Mel, you're not gonna like this. Mel is wrong. Stormy is all the way right. Mel is not wrong to change her number. Mel is wrong in this conversation of constantly trying to flip their lack of communication on Stormy. Stormy is saying she reached out several times. Mel says, "Well, didn't you recognize I changed my number?" Stormy says, "No, because I was texting you." "Well, you didn't try to call after that?" No, we always text. Look, y'all. Again, if you are only texting someone, y'all might not be as close friends as you think you are. Even, and I can say I've become more of a texter than a talker, but when I really want to talk to when I have stuff to say to my friends, I'm not texting you a whole conversation. We're going to get on the phone. And if something has gone on in my life where I need to change my number, I'm going to call the people I like and say, "Hey girl, this is my new number." Or I'm at least going to text them and say, "Hey girl, I changed my number. Here's the new one." Just like I said with Martell, Melody, stop the cap. She's not that type of friend to you. you did not see fit to give the girl your new number. And I wouldn't be in your DMs anyway. The only people in that go in someone's DMs are groupies or people who are being messy. That's it. For the most part. You know, being on social media and being in reality television, and even now I see you doing YouTube, you may have, people who want to reach out to you for a partnership, business type stuff, right? But for the most part, no one is coming in your DMs unless they are flirting with you or otherwise trying to get in your drawers, trying to conduct business with you, or being messy. You have a few people who are just genuine supporters and would like to talk to you. But for the most part, none of my real friends DM me. If they do DM me, they are sending me a share from another reel or post that someone else made. They don't DM me with conversations about our day-to-day life. You know why? Because they have my phone number. And we actually talk. So I hope Stormy received that message. Melody should have delivered it loud and clear, but for whatever reason, she does not want to. And in my opinion, that's a bad look on her. Trying to make this girl feel like she should have did more to reach out to you. No, ma'am. Y'all all got children, businesses, things to do. No one's running up behind you. But to that point, Stormy, sometimes, sis, we just got to learn how to read the room. When you haven't talked to someone in months, that should kind of let you know where that friendship stands. I wouldn't be pressed about it. I would not ask Melody why I haven't heard from her. You do surface, I'm going to do surface too. And honestly, this is what how I know reality TV will never be for me. So don't ever think that, Plez, you should do. I shouldn't. I would never make it because I don't do superficial stuff. I don't engage in my real life. Either we're friends or we're not. I can have associates, but I'm not really breaking bread with associates like talking about, not to the extent that these people have to do on reality shows. I'm not going to lunches and brunches with people that I don't like on a consistent basis. I may do it if it's somebody's birthday and we have a mutual friend, but for the most part, no. So anyway, that's it. That's all. My review, my take on this episode. It's gonna be interesting. We have a new mother in the mix. I'm hoping Miss Wanda will stay gone. Unfortunately, I have a feeling she may be back. But I want to see adult interactions with adult people, couples, friends, associates, whatever. I don't want to muddy the waters with worrying about if I'm stepping on somebody's mama's toes or not. So, as always, y'all, leave your thoughts, leave your comments, give me your opinions. Again, I don't mind a respectful disagreement, but it's Easter Sunday. It's Resurrection Sunday. I hope by the time this is posted, y'all have been to church. If that's your thing, you have enjoyed Easter dinner. I'm finna get out of here and enjoy the day, my friends, my family, and some good old Easter Sunday dinner. All right. I love y'all. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit your notification bell, and I will see you all for the next video, which will likely be this finale of the SWV and Escape Queens of R&B. See y'all later. Bye.